A few months ago, someone asked me, "How are you?" Without even thinking, I said, "I'm fine." The funny thing is, I wasn't. Hi, welcome back to Beyond the Smile, the place where we look beyond appearances and have the conversations people are often afraid to start. I'm really happy you're here. Today, I want to talk about something that I think almost everyone has experienced. Why do we hide our feelings? And I don't just mean hiding them from strangers. Sometimes we hide them from our friends, our family, even ourselves. Think about the last time someone asked you, "How are you?" What did you answer? Maybe you said, "I'm good, I'm fine, I'm just tired, my personal favorite." But were you actually okay? Or was that just the easiest answer? I think it's interesting that almost everyone asks, "How are you?" But very few people expect an honest answer. Imagine replying, "Actually, I've been feeling really overwhelmed lately." Most people wouldn't know what to say. Not because they don't care, but because we're not used to those conversations. I started wondering, when do we learn to hide our feelings? Because little kids usually don't. If they're sad, everyone knows. If they're excited, everyone knows. If they're angry, trust me, everyone knows. At least I was one of those. So, somewhere along the way, we learned that maybe it's better to smile, to say we're okay, to avoid making things awkward. And I get it. Being vulnerable is scary. Sometimes we're afraid people will judge us. Sometimes we're afraid they'll think we're being dramatic. Sometimes we're afraid they won't believe us. Sometimes we don't even understand our own feelings well enough to explain them. At least for me, that was one of my biggest problems. I also think social media has changed this. We see everyone's highlights, vacations, achievements, perfect friendships, perfect relationships, perfect lives. And even though we know that's not the full picture, it's hard not to compare ourselves. It's hard not to think, why does everyone else seem happier than me? The truth is, most people are hiding something, not because they're fake, because they're human. I came across something recently that really stayed with me. Someone said, "People don't fake being okay because they want attention. They fake being okay because they don't want to be a burden." And honestly, I think a lot of people can relate to that. I know I can. For years, I pretended I was okay by simply putting on a smile. I thought that by keeping everything to myself, I was protecting the people around me. I didn't want to worry my family. I didn't want my friends to think something was wrong. So I smiled, I laughed, and every time someone asked if I was okay, I said yes. But you know what happened? They became even more worried about me, because they could tell something wasn't right, but I never said anything. But here's the thing. Keeping everything inside doesn't make those feelings disappear. It usually makes them louder. Maybe you've noticed that yourself. Sometimes the thoughts you never say out loud are the ones that keep you awake at night. Now, I'm not saying you have to tell everyone everything. You don't. Privacy is important, boundaries are healthy, but I do think everyone deserves at least one person they can be honest with. A friend, a parent, a sibling, a teacher, a counselor, someone. Because carrying everything alone is exhausting. The good news is, you don't have to carry it forever. Sometimes the hardest part isn't asking for help. It's believing that you deserve it. And if you're listening to this and you've been pretending you're okay, I just want to remind you of something. You don't have to earn support. You don't have to wait until things get really bad before asking for help. Your feelings matter now, not only when they become a crisis. Before we finish, I want to leave you with a question. Is there something you've been pretending doesn't bother you, when actually it does. You don't have to answer out loud, just be honest with yourself. Sometimes that's the first step. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Be kind to yourself, be kind to the people around you, because everyone is fighting battles we can't always see. I'll see you next time!